Hey guys, it's Randage. Welcome back to the Format Library channel. We've recently held our latest inclusion to the Yu-Gi-Oh! Retro series, and this time around we were featuring Critter format. And I'm joined by the winner of this event, Cameron Saunders. Cam, why don't you introduce yourself and let the people know a little bit about you?
Yeah, I'm Cameron. I have been a part of Format Library for a long time since really since it started. That was around 2016. Um, I play a lot of Goat format. I play other retro formats like Edison. I've been on the Ed and Edison YouTube channel, which Randage has also been on before, and really good time had there. I'm a judge on Dueling Book. I'm a ruling expert for the Goat format Discord server. Um, I've studied a lot of those kinds of rulings, and I make sure I want to give back to the community when I do stuff like that. And even when I'm not judging, I enjoy playing. So I got a chance to play this YRS, and I decided that hey, I was going to do it.
Yeah, and it seems you did really well for yourself. I mean, you won the event. You just said you're experienced in a lot of different formats, specifically like GOAT and stuff. You're a judge, like you said. I was just wondering, roughly like how long do you think you've actually been playing like Yu-Gi-Oh competitively?
Competitively, I've been playing since January 2014, right after the Ravine Ruler format. I played a little of a tail into that, but I really got into it in Firewater after Heavy was banned, after the rulers got limited, and the Mermail Fire Fist format. So Firewater Hat were around when I started to really get good at Yu-Gi-Oh! And like actually, decide to play, Dueling Network rated and events and stuff like that. Um, I didn't really learn a lot about Yu-Gi-Oh! Till around Zodiacs, like get really good that is. And even then, you're always improving. So I've been playing a lot longer than that, but just not, on a competitive level.
Right. Okay. So, you just mentioned a bunch of other formats. So you've been around for a while. Do you have like any favorites that you would say, like favorite formats or like some favorite decks that you've played in previous formats?
My favorite format, like, nowadays I would say it's Goat. I've played so much Goat and I've gotten, to a point in it where I'm really comfortable in my level of play there. Um, I just think it's a great format. It's, definitely the most popular retro format for a reason. Edison's another great format that I love playing from time to time. Formats people don't talk about. I love the ABC Paleo Metalfo format from 2016 and the Zodiac formats. I really enjoy them because, like I said, that was when I started getting like really good at deck building and playing the game. Um, those formats don't really get as much love because they're so recent compared to Goat, Edison, and them. Favorite decks, everyone knows I'm a huge Gladiator Beast fanatic. I've been playing Glads a really long time. I love Metal Foes as well, even though I don't like Pendulum Summons that much. I think Metal Foe is a great deck, and just really, I like Goat format because anything involving Chaos Monsters, I love banishing from my graveyard.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure everybody's dropped a BLS or Sork multiple times in their lives. Um, so comparing like Goat and like you said Edison, some of your other favorite formats, about like how compared to like Critter are you familiar with them as you are with like Critter? Like do you know your way around this format? I mean, you won this event, so I would expect you know like a good amount, but just, wondering how familiar you are with this compared to the other ones you mentioned.
Well, I haven't played as much Critter. Obviously, it's not as much of a popular format, but the card pool is a lot smaller. And like once you learn that half of your legal cards are useless vanillas, um, you've only got a few things to memorize. You still got one Mirror Force. You've got two Heavy Storm, which is kind of the same as one Storm, one Duster. If you played formats like Yada, where you have a whole huge limited list and that's your entire deck. Um, so two Heavy Storms not much different from having one Storm and one Duster. Um, as far as the staples go, you're still on like Triple Legend, Mass Sorcerer. Um, the format's not super hard to like learn, and that's what makes it great because you can just get these 40 cards and just as long as you know some really strong basics and fundamentals of playing Yu-Gi-Oh, then you can get through it and you can learn like how to play really well in it.
Yeah, I participated in this event as well. I mean, I went 0-2 shamefully, but it actually was pretty fun, if I had to be honest. I mean, it was a nice way to just kick back and realize, there's not a ton of huge like power plays you can do, and more of it's so just like managing your resources, I guess.
Yeah,
But
it's
yeah.
a really chill format. It just you whenever you just want to play some Yu-Gi-Oh that you're not going to get totally sacked one in every however many games. And I don't normally talk about sacking like that because I don't think it's a huge deal because that's why you play matches. But when you're playing critter format, there's not a lot that you're just going to lose because you can't win. And it's really nice to be able to play a format like that where you can always look back and say, I could have done this better, I could have done that better. And you know, the thing about critter in general is that like if you know Yu-Gi-Oh, then you can play it.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so following that question, did you do any sort of like preparation for this event? Did you practice with anybody? Did you go over a couple different deck lists and just figure out what you want to do? Or
Um, I kind of built my deck, the general core of like the mass sorcerer control that Jazz popularized, and per his advice, I took out the man-eater bugs because if you're playing a bunch of mirrors, then half the time man-eater bug is going to eat up a Songan or a witch, and you're going to go, well, great, awesome, Um, so I felt like man-eater bug was just not that good. Instead, if I was going to set man-eater bug, I would rather just set witch. Songan runs into that, or set mass sorcerer, which I did plenty. I opened set mass sorcerer set like Wabaku tons of times this format. This event because it's just such a strong play. Almost every time that I set mass sorcerer, my opponent summoned witch and attacked, and I got a draw off it. Um, and that's really just better than man eater bug because it doesn't get punished by witch and Songan. So I took the man eater bugs out of the main, put them in the side. Um, just based on that theory alone, and that was all that I really changed. I played 2 Robbing Goblins also at Jazz's recommendation, which was not like actually very good this event. In general, it's pretty good, but it didn't do very well for me. Other than that, I didn't really do any preparing. I'd only played a few matches. I played like 1 or 2 of Jazz, and I actually played those mid-event when I was preparing for my match with Noel in the winners finals. I played 2 matches with Jazz to kind of see what I would be up against because Noel's a very strong player and Jazz is a very strong player. If I could beat Jazz, I figured I could beat Noel. So,
okay, well, that was actually going to lead up to my next question for you. Was there any like certain players that you were anticipating playing in this event, or any certain uh decks slash cards to watch out for?
I was worried about playing against Jazz, and it turns out in round 1 he messaged me saying something about I can't remember what he told me, but then I was like, wait a minute, are you not playing in the event? And he was like, no, I didn't sign up for this one. I was like, oh, okay, well, sounds good for me then. Um, as far as other players, I wasn't really too worried. Once I saw that Fusion, who was actually my finals opponent, was advancing really fast through the losers bracket, and I saw what he was playing, I was like, "Oh man, this isn't going to turn out well for me." He's playing such a fast deck with all these beaters, and there's just not a lot that I can do to handle it. And luckily, in game 1 of our match, um, I think it was game 1. He heavy stormed his own set 7 tools for my Wabaku, which really turned the tide of the game because he neg 1 heavied into not being able to actually do anything that turn, so that really helped me. And then in game 2, um, I just kind of I just had the game from the very start in game 2, so it was fine there. Other than that, I wasn't worried about anyone. Obviously Noel and Paolo NS are really strong players. Um, but it's critter format and it's Yu-Gi-Oh, so I figure if I can beat anyone. If I can beat Jazz, I can beat anyone in creator format because Yu-Gi-Oh! At the end of the day is you're going to get Yu-Gi-Oh'd on. You can beat anyone at Yu-Gi-Oh! So I wasn't super worried, but I definitely did have to tighten up my game against players like that.
Yeah, regarding Fusion, I had played a couple games with him the night before because we were just gonna join this event totally out of the blue. And when we were playing our game, he kind of just mentioned to me like, why does nobody just max out on all these beaters like three Juragumo, three Legend, three seven colored fish, and then just play a bunch of burn cards? And I was like, I have no idea, man. So he went ahead and just crafted that, and like you said, he fought his way all the way up to finals against you. So shout out to him.
Yeah, it's a really innovative deck for a format like Critter, where most people are you look at Yugi Kaiba format, which is right before Critter, and you have three Legend, three Battle Ox, three Neo in every deck, and it's all beaters and then Man-Eater bugs. And then you fast forward to Metal Raiders release, and you see Magician of Faith and Cannon Soldier and Mass Sorcerer and White Magical Hat, all these little monsters that people were now, you know, completely sold on being the way to play the game. And people, other than Legend and maybe Seven Colored Fish, they just threw away, all these other beaters because they weren't big enough compared to Legend and Fish. And they just didn't do as much. Like, people were really against Jiraigumo and even Dark Elf because the life point cost was just ridiculous. And back then people didn't play Solemn Judgment either because of a life point cost. So, which is something that everyone except Fusion, honestly, was playing to, at that event. So,
Yeah.
um, it's just kind of crazy how we play differently now than we would have used to, and then we still have these people like Fusion that can bring something that we just don't expect to see because they're just not cards that we think of as being typically good. We have a lot of Thunder Dragon was in this event as well. I played against DK0, who was using Thunder Dragon, and Noel was using Thunder Dragon. So, um, very interesting, especially with cards like Mucka Mucka, makes them big. And, you know, it's it's nice to actually see that even in a format like Critter with such a limited card pool, you're getting, innovation if in any form.
Yeah, shout outs to the community for all these years past and still just coming up with new stuff. It's actually insane. Um so regarding your list here, did it perform as you expected it to? I mean, obviously you won the event, but was there any cards that really stood out to you that could have been something else or ended up costing you a game maybe in one of your sets?
I did the only thing that ever costed me a game, I think, was me playing bad. I was actually complaining to Jazz after day one in DMs. I think I played both my matches. Maybe I played them 2 days apart, but um, I was complaining to him. I was like, I'm playing so bad this tournament. Like I had won my matches, but I'm like, I'm playing so bad. Why am I playing so bad today? And he was like, well, better that than the opposite, right? Playing bad and winning is better than playing good and losing. But in a tournament, at least, I don't want to, make people sound like I'm one of them. But um, the Robin Goblin, the second Robin Goblin, even the first one, I think I resolved Robin Goblin twice. The whole match, the whole event. Robin Goblin was just not that great. I wish it would have been like a seven colored fish. Any kind of additional beat stick, because there was actually a game I played against DK0 where um, I was at like seven in deck, but I'd already exhausted my mass sorcerers, my legends, all of my damage outlets, and um, and I was on the deck out train first. So even though I had much higher life points than he did at this point, I just scooped. I said I can't win. I cannot do anywhere near as much damage to your life points as you have. And so I think not having good enough damage cost me a game there. So definitely something like at one, maybe even two seven colored fish would have helped over one of these Robin Goblins. Everything else in the deck seemed to work really well. I think the two Giant Soldier of Stone, especially against these aggressive decks, which um, I played a lot. There was a lot of Jiragumo in this event. So, you know, and Giant Soldier of Stone didn't really stop Jiragumo, but all the Dark Elves and um, and 7-colored fishes I was seeing, it does stop those. So that was a good call. So really, it's just Robin Goblin. I think that card's not that great right now. I might have played, like I said, either Fish or maybe a copy of Last Will Maimed, because getting caught by Trap Hole, if you're going to play Fish, then getting caught by Trap Hole is more common, so maybe Last Will is better too. So that might have been something I did. Other than that, it ran pretty smoothly. Um, I can't, talk too bad about it. It clearly won the event, so.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean you won, so yeah. Um so you mentioned a bunch of spots that came up during your run here. I was wondering what would be like your number one most memorable moment that from this event?
Um, let's see. Well, in round one, when I was playing against Dewey, it was game two. I had 175 life points, and I had Cannon Soldier in my grave, and he had Monster Reborn in his. And he sets Magician of Fate, and he resolves it. He gets back pot. So Jazz messages me, and he's like, "What are they doing?" I'm like, "I don't know," because I saw it too. Everyone saw it except for him. And so I was like, okay. Then he sets Faith again, resolves it again, and grabs Pot again. And he's already on the deck out train going first. He's trying to dig for Heavy Storm. So I'm like, okay, you can do this all you want. I'm absolutely perfectly fine with it. My turn comes. I set Magician of Faith, resolve it, and then I grab back Monster Reborn and Cannon Soldier him for game when he could have done that to me 3 or 4 turns ago. And that got me a 2-0 in that in that match. So that
Wow.
was one, but yeah, I would have gotten to game three, but and Jazz was actually telling me, this whole event, he was like, "You're scaring me right now. Your life points just stay so low. Every time I look, you're on like 1,000 life points, and they have like 7,000." I'm like, "It's fine, it's fine, it's fine. I got this." Um, I would have got a game three if he had noticed that, which I might have gone to loser's bracket. Then you just never know. There's nothing's a guarantee. So I am kind of thankful that he threw there. But maybe a more memorable moment was when I was playing against Noelle in game one, and I had set a solemn. I was on 8,000 life points, and she goes and resolves Thunder Dragon, so she has 2 Thunder Dragons and 4 cards in hand. This is like turn 2 or 3 or whatever. Summons Mass Sorcerer, and I solemn it. I 4K solemn Mass Sorcerer because I know I can't let her get that kind of advantage going. And Jazz messages me and he goes, "I think you cracked this matchup." And I wasn't paying no mind to that. I was like, "What are you talking about, dude?" Um, but he said that because I realized that if I saw her monster, she can't last will. So so that was really like just knowing that I may have paid 4,000 life points there, but I took the game by storm afterwards because with using that normal summon up and then not being able to use last will that was in her hand, and then setting like my own. She didn't have Mucka Mucka either, so she couldn't run over my Legion, and it was just like a really strong positional play to solemn that Mass Sorcerer there, and it was really good. So that was probably the best moment of the whole event.
Yeah, sometimes the most out there plays to other people end up just being the ones that win you the game. So
Right?
definitely,
Yeah.
definitely a good call there to do that. So Cam, I appreciate you sitting here and talking with me today. The last question I have here for you is, is there anyone you want to shout out? Any friends, teammates, practice partners, anything like that?
I mean, obviously Jazz for playing those matches with me. But practice matches before I played against Noel, and obviously the whole format library, mod team and everyone who played in the event for hosting it. And it was a fun time. I really appreciate that Jazz made the round times for this one 24 hours long instead of the 1 day event because it allowed me to play it. Because I don't get as much time off work as I used to, so it's nice being able to actually play in a tournament and not have to worry too much about whether or not I'm going to be able to ask a day off or even show up to it. So that was nice. Um, Obviously shout out to my team Damage Step. We didn't practice one bit at all, but I mean I'm going to shout them out anyway because it's Damage Step, and we've also got the Del Bolito event coming up tomorrow. So we've been practicing for that. So shout out for them for any kind of making me better at Yu-Gi-Oh is going to come down to them a lot. So yeah, that's it.
All right. All right, Cam, thanks for sitting down with us, and thank you everybody who sat through this and listened. The next Retro Series event will be posted on the Discord. All that information is in the description. You can join the Discord, talk with people like Cam and myself, and we hope to see you guys enter our future events. See ya.
All right, peace.